رحم الله من قرأ سورة الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، يا غريب كربلاء، رزقنا الله في الدنيا زيارتكم وشفاعتكم في الدنيا وفي الآخرة. أما بعد، يقول الله في محكم كتابه وقرآنه المجيد وقوله الحق: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. من كان يريد العاجلة عجلنا له فيها ما نشاء لمن نريد، ثم جعلنا له جهنم يصلاها مذموما مدحورا. ومن أراد الآخرة وسعى لها سعيها وهو مؤمن فأولئك كان سعيهم مشكورا. كلا نمد هؤلاء وهؤلاء من عطاء ربك وما كان عطاء ربك محظورا. انظر كيف فضلنا بعضهم على بعض، وللآخرة أكبر درجات وأكبر تفضيلا. لا تجعل مع الله إلها آخر فتقعد مذموما مخذولا. آمنا بالله، صدق الله العلي العظيم. Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We have now entered our 10th night in this series, and for this series at least, not for my nights here, but at least for this series, this is the final night. It's been quite a journey, and I couldn't have asked for a better community to have taken it with. So let me start over there. First of all, I would like to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Ahl-ul-Bayt, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, for giving me another chance and the tawfiq of serving them once again, and for serving with such a beautiful community. Second, I would like to thank the community for many of you showing up all of the nights, and for most of the others showing up all of the nights. And even for those of you who it's your first night, it's very beautiful to see you all, and inshallah we can all serve Abu Abdullah together. Thirdly, I would like to apologize if I've ever said anything from the minbar, off the minbar, that was off tilt, that came off in the wrong way, that was not received in the right way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that my intention was nothing but good intentions, and so inshallah it was received with good intentions, but I know that we live in dunya and not everything goes perfectly, as we saw many times with the tech and the microphone feedback. Fourthly, tonight will be, because it is Saturday, the last Q&A that I will be doing. We will do it like how we did last Saturday and last night. And so any of you who have any questions, whether it's about the series, whether it's about anything Islam related, I can't really answer, engineering questions. It's been too long since I went to engineering school. Your questions are more than welcome, and أنا بخدمتكم إن شاء الله. Fifth and finally, let's not forget all of our marhumin who didn't make it to this Muḥarram, who are asking for your du'as from Barzakh. And with that being said, please, if you can also remember me amongst your 40. When you pray Salat al-Layl, remember me by name. That would be absolutely amazing, and I will do the same for all of you, inshallah. With that being said, we enter into our 10th night seeing Jannah in this world. We'll start off with a hadith from none other than Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. In this hadith, Rasulullah says, lower your gaze and you will see wonders. Many of us have heard this hadith, and if I could have a whole entire lecture just on this hadith, just in the time that it took me from knowing what I wanted to talk about on the 10th and final night till today, the ways how I've been able to reflect on this hadith are so many. And that's just me. There are many who are way more qualified to sit on the minbar of Abu Abdullah who could do much better than I could. But because of constraint of time, we will only be going over 3. Yesterday, we looked at dhulumat versus darajat. And we said that of the dhulumat, of the ears, one of the extra, unnecessary dhulumat that we add onto ourselves. And what else is dhulum except for, actually I don't think we even talked about this, but it's burdening ourselves, right? When you do dhulum, linguistically, it doesn't just mean wrong or wrongdoing. Dhulum is when you put something that shouldn't be somewhere and you put it there, right? So for example, if I go and take, for example, let's say from the washroom, if I go and take a roll of toilet paper and I go and put it over here next to me on the minbar, this is not the place for that. If I go and start putting food plates over here next to me on the minbar, that is not the place for it. Everything has its place. Similarly, this is where the concept of dhulm came. For example, when you start talking or admonishing and scolding like an adult to a young child. This is not something that you should be doing. The way how your boss talks to you at work is not how you come home and talk to your child. The way how, unfortunately, right, husbands sometimes talk to wives, and sometimes wives talk to husbands, is not how you then go and pass on to your kids. This is dhulm. Dhulm then in religion is when you go and, for example, take wilayah from Ali ibn Abi Talib and you give it to anybody and everybody else. This is dhulm. Dhulm can take many shapes. Dhulm can take many sizes. Don't look at the size of the dhulm. Dhulm is dhulm. Dhulumat then, that we go and do and they go and become hujab for us before we can see Allah. We yesterday said that one of the dhulm that is there for the ears is what? Who was here yesterday and can remind me? Everyone is quiet because they don't want to mention it, because they don't want to become too holy. I'll mention it. I'll become the bad Maulana, right? Good cop, bad cop. Now I'm bad Maulana. Music. When you listen to music, you are adding unnecessary filth and barriers in between you and Allah. The haram music. Of course, our marajah say that there is that type of music that is fine, right? At the end of the day, if someone wants to go and become very, very contrarian and they're like, oh, well, what about the latmiyas and the nohas and Quran recitation? Isn't that music as well, right? We're like, okay, Mr. Smarty Pants, you got me, right? And this is why, by the way, the imams have said that lahwi type of music, lahu al-hadith in the Quran, and they say this is music. When this kind of music is presented to our ears, this does destructive wonders. We started off with Rasulullah saying, lower your gaze, you'll see wonders. This does destructive wonders to our ears.
Our ears are Sami'an Basira that we've been talking about for all 10 nights now, right? From Surah Al-Insan. These are the platform of the test. Why are you making your test harder on yourself? Don't you want to go and remove hijabs between you and Allah and see the ghaib more clearly? Well, when it comes to Rasulullah's hadith, tonight we're going to be looking at 3 interpretations of lowering your gaze and seeing wonders. Hearing is one thing, brothers and sisters. Your sight is much more exposed to this dunya. You see many more things than you hear. Okay? There's a reason why when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Khatam Allahu, He goes and uses the singular for hearing and He uses the plural for sight. Let's recite the ayah from Surah Al-Baqarah. Let's do it all together. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Khatam Allahu ala sam'ihim wa ala abtarihim ghishawa, right? Okay, which one was singular? Sama. Which one was plural? Absar. Right? For those of you who know Arabic, right? Sama is hearing. Why is absar plural? Because when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is preaching in Mecca, they hear one and the same thing. But what they see is different. Maybe one of them is much closer to the speaker. One of them is all the way in the back, so his perspective is different. Maybe one of them, he has, a bunch of heads in front of him, right? The other one has nothing but, poor old me to look at, right? So your absar are mukhtalif. They are very different. When you lower your gaze, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's messenger says you will see wonders, let's look at 3 of these interpretations. بعد الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. First and foremost, this is not just saying don't look at haram. And of course, there are those of us in the community who will struggle with our sight and looking at that which is forbidden. Whether that is on our screens, whether that is in person, right? When I came into the airport, mashallah, all I could remember was this hadith. I'm like, lower your gaze, lower your gaze, lower your gaze. Every single one of the billboards had come over here to this haram, right? Tonight, inshallah, we are going to be saying, Hayya alal aza. Hayya alal aza. These billboards, mashallah, they were saying, Hayya alal haram. And so when you go and look down, number 1, at the primary level, and you are not looking at haram anymore, expect wonders to start coming. There is a beautiful story from the time of the Uthmaniyin, the Ottomans. And in Iraq, there was basically marja, right? This is maybe around 200 years ago. And the Khalifa is in town. He's in Baghdad. Now, he comes into Baghdad and he says to the marja, basically, I want you to come and have dinner with me. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is not because of just seeing haram. This is overall haram. Okay, keep that in mind in the back of your mind while I'm narrating this story. He says, Marja, you come and have dinner with me. He says, basically, this is going to be embarrassing for me if I come and have, dinner with you. For those of you who are Iraqi, the equivalent of this would be when Saddam forced Ayatollah Khouei to come on TV with him, and he went and forced him to come and be on TV with him. Yes, for those of you who remember, this was in the 1990s. So this Uthmani Ottoman Caliph comes and says basically the same thing for the marja of that time. This marja is like, what am I going to go and sit over here with a volume for? Right? An oppressor. He says, thank you, but I have plans, for these next few nights. He says basically that, look, you have one of 2 choices. You either come or you're killed. Okay? He's like, okay, now we're in a different situation. When my wife is in danger, I have no other choice but to go. He goes. At this dinner, the Grand Vizier, right, comes up to him and says, Sayyidina, Sheikhna, whichever he was, right, we don't really know. And he comes up to the marja and he's like, is it true? Is this a true hadith from Abu Abdullah Ja'far ibn Muhammad al-Sadiq, salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi? He says, is this a true hadith where he says, if you can keep yourself from sin for 40 days, Allah will protect you from eating haram. Let me repeat the hadith again. If you can stop yourself from haram for 40 days consecutively, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will keep haram food away from you. The marja says, I've looked into the hadith. The sanad seems to be, mustanad. It is there. I've researched it. It's fine. And the matan also checks out. So, it's a reliable hadith. He's like, okay, thank you. They go and finish their dinner. He goes back to his place. And then they basically, finish up with whatever they need to finish up with for dinner. The next week he goes and says, you need to come again. Right? And they go and send a soldier escort. This isn't the pomp and glory kind of escort. This is basically you either come or you're going to be put to death. The marja comes again. Before they go and eat, before the khuddam, the servants, they go and serve the food for that night, the vizier, look at this plan, okay? Look at the plan of this evil vizier. He goes and asks him again. He's like, are you sure? He's like, I just wanted to ask you a question. He's like, yeah, go ahead. He says that hadith of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, that if you are able to go and keep yourself from haram for how many days? 40 days. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will keep haram food away from you and you will not ingest haram food. He's like, yes, it's a right hadith as far as I can tell. He's like, okay. And this is, maybe my memory is wrong, either it's before the food was served or it's after the food was served. Most likely it was after the food was served, but after he went and said it's correct, he's like, okay, listen, basically, Mr. Marja, right, Sayyidina, Sheikhna, I have some news for you. Like, okay, what's the news? He's like, well, you just ate haram. He's like, what do you mean I ate haram? He's like, well, this meat that you just ate, it's haram. So what do you have to say for yourself? So now look at the position he goes and puts him in. Either Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam is lying, or he doesn't know how to research, or what? He couldn't keep himself even for 40 days away from sin, and you call yourself a marja, and all these Shi'as over here in Baghdad and wherever else in the Shia world, they're all following you? Look how evil this plan was. So now the marja, he's really thinking, he's like, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? He thinks, and then he's like, I don't accept that it was haram. He's like, what do you mean it's not haram? He's like, well, tell me, how is it haram? They're like, just accept it, it's haram. Haram food, right? Because for those of you who don't know, haram food doesn't just mean that it's not zabiha. Haram food can be haram in many ways. For example, if it's bought with haram money. For example, if it's stolen. For example, if, najis hands prepared it. For example, I mean, the laws keep on going, right? Many of us, unfortunately, think, oh yeah, if the sign says in neon, right, and the neon sign is on, it says halal, then inshallah, hakaitu bismillah, inshallah, it's good, right? We don't believe in this, right? We believe that there are many different rules that apply for halal food, okay? So the marja says, how exactly is it haram? He's like, just accept that it's haram. He's like, I will not accept that I ate haram unless you tell me. He's like, okay, bring the chef. Brings the chef, and he's like, I told you to go and prepare haram food. Did you prepare haram food for us? He's like, yes. He's like, there you go. هذا وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. So now, either Imam al-Sadiq is a kadhib, he's a liar, or you don't know how to research, or you can't keep yourself from sin. Brothers and sisters, there are some more brothers and sisters who are trying to enter. If I could please ask you to please stand up and come just a little bit closer. If you do, of course we know the ayah of the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make room for us if we make room in the majalis. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Even the sisters, if I could ask you to just go a little bit, those who are in the front, go a little bit towards the back. That way there's more room for sisters who can come and just come and take some seats up at the front. If you could, inshallah, that would be really helpful. If you can't, I have much less visibility than even you do. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So the chef is like, yeah, it's haram. He's like, so do you accept? He's like, no, tell me how it's haram. He's like, well, I went and basically had one of the guards of this palace, right, go and steal a sheep, right? When he stole the sheep, I cooked it in the usual way, right? I went and made it dhabiha, I did this and that, and I did the usual thing that I usually do, but it's haram because it's stolen. So now the vizier is looking at the marja, he's like, so now do you accept? It's haram, right? He's like, no, I still won't accept. Bring the person that you stole it from. He's like, Allahu Akbar, you want me to go and bring the person that I stole it from? It's like, bring the guard, go and get the person who he stole it from, and bring him to me. You want me to admit this? This is deen. I'm not going to go and just play around with it like this. Okay, fine, yeah, it's haram. Bring him. They go, they find him. The guy was actually, like, in the middle of filing, the official complaint. This guy, this mean old guy, went and stole my sheep. They go and bring him in front of the Khalifa, in front of the vizier, in front of the chef, in front of the marja. Marja goes and says, how exactly was this stolen from you? He's like, well, actually, I was bringing this sheep so that I can go and present it as a hadiyah to you, to the marja. He's like, and then this meanie, this guard over here, he went and stole it from me, and then I didn't know where it went. So the marja's like, all of you ate haram. This was meant for me. I'm the only one who ate halal. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The story doesn't end well for the vizier, by the way. The Khalifa was so mad. He's like, what have you done? You went and made this guy look better than what I wanted. He went in either, in one version of the story, he sacked him, he fired him. In the other version of the story, he had him executed. In any case, when you are on this path of Allah and you give up haram, expect for Allah to do wonders in your life. But not just that. All of these distractions of your basar, of basira, sami'an basira, all of these, if you start to go and just take it a little bit easy, right? We looked at that hadith from Imam Amin al-Mu'mineen from Nahj al-Balagha the other day, right? Where if you just lighten your load, if you just lighten your attachment to worldly desires, you will make it. تَخَفَّفُوا تَلْحَقُوا. Right? 2 words. Very simple, and yet not even life-saving, after life-saving. So even your halal, your mubah, your makruh, right? Start to slowly subtract those things from yourself. If, for those of you who were here when we did that math equation of 1/0, right? When you start to make yourself khali, when you start to go and bring yourself closer and closer to 0, and you eliminate that shirk, you will very quickly start to unravel the time and space aspects and get closer to inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. You will start to get closer and closer, much quicker to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, especially from the halal. And I tried to go and construct my lectures in this way, that like a ring structure, my final night matches up with the first night. What are some of the time sinks that our youth are very, very in love with? Video games. Yes? These are time sinks. Your youth, where you could be building up yourself, is being wasted away in front of screens. And it doesn't even have to be haram. It could be halal. And yet, is this the best use of your time? Probably not. I'm not saying that video games don't have a place. Use them as a means to de-stress when you've had a very long day. But don't overdo it and just go and waste 17 hours in front of a screen and you're like, inshallah, now the final boss, right, is going to be defeated, and then I'm going to go to Baba, right, the real boss, and I'm going to have him go and buy me the next video game. Right? This is not how it works. Right? I know, right, like, when Baba says inshallah, you're like, Eid is right around the corner. That inshallah is going to mean something very soon, right? Sami'an basira, if you're on that journey, video games are something that you need to start cutting out. Because these are time sinks, these are distractions. And for those of us who are past this stage, mashallah, some of us are adults and we haven't even passed this stage. Video games are, probably the biggest time sink of our adult lives. Muraqabah and muhasabah, brothers and sisters, this is the name of the game. You have to go and really cut out those things that are not going to bring you closer to Allah. You need to go and find those things, those mustahabbat that Ahl-ul-Bayt have recommended, and start to apply your time towards that. And that's why, brothers and sisters, even symbolically, when you look at what Ayatollah Khomeini, rahmatullah alayhi, what he went and said in his adab al-salah, right? When it comes to qiyam, and it comes to your ruku', and it comes to your sujood, look at how your eyes have access to the world. And even in the mustahabbat, what do they say? Even in the hadith, it's mustahab to do if you are praying at home, to go and find a mihrab like this. You guys know what a mihrab is? And I'm pointing at it. It's that little niche, right? Right in the corner of the musalla in your house, at the masjid in the actual building, right? Go inside over there and try to pray over there. Why? Because you have so little things to go and concentrate on. You just have everything focusing over here. Yes? So in your qiyam, you see, let's say, this much. In your ruku, do you see more or less than when you were in qiyam? Less. All you see is this. So all of this is gone. You've lowered your gaze already. Then when you're in sujood, you have to keep your eyes open, by the way, right? Not like how Abu Hanifa, it's reported that he said, I don't know what Imam Salih alayhi salam is doing. Is he keeping his eyes open in sujood, or is he keeping his eyes closed? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep one eye closed and one eye open. No, we keep our eyes open, okay? And when you keep your eyes open in sujood, what are you looking at? You're looking up towards the turba. So you're going to kind of almost a little bit become cross-eyed, but you are so focused on just one thing. Even if you haven't been looking there in your sujood, right? All this time. Haven't you realized that you see much less in sujood than when you're in ruku or qiyam? Maybe some of us haven't reflected on our salah that much. Maybe for some of us, ibadah has become ada, become routine, and we become bored of it. So, when you have these daily reminders, 5 times a day, that you are supposed to be focusing more and more and more, and now you understand why the servant is closest to Allah when he is in which stage? In sujood. I'm hearing just a little bit too much chatter from the sister side. If we could have a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. This is supposed to go and be a practical lesson of what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi taught us, of lowering our gaze. The third thing that I want to go and mention is one of these practical ways to take this hadithi advice, and that is to look at those of us who are lower than us in fortune, who are lesser than us in fortune. When you look at those people who are begging on the street, yes? When you look at them, what are you supposed to be doing? You're supposed to be giving your charity, your sadaqah. You're supposed to be giving, if applicable, zakat. You're supposed to be giving, hopefully, khums, so that mu'assasat, masajid, they can go and become help and, places, beacons of hope for these fuqara, for these masakeen, right? Not have the same exact wording as Surah Al-Yasin when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the ayah, right? أَنُطْعِمُ مَنْ لَوْ يَشَاءُ اللَّهُ أَطْعَمَهُ, right? Should we go and feed those people who, if Allah wanted, He could have fed him Himself? إِنْ هِيَ إِلَّا ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ إِنْ هِيَ إِلَّا فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ, right? This is not how we look at the world. The way how the mindset of those people who are talking in this ayah is one of nihilism. Again, going all the way back to lecture number 1. We are trying to, through this mindset, combat 2 major schools of thought that are prevalent today. One from the religious side, which is nihilism. One from the political side, which is called, who can remind me? Dispensationalism. It's okay, I know it's been a long time now. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And that's why, brothers and sisters, when we mention nihilism, because this is our final night and we're trying to tie a bow cleanly onto all of these topics, look at what Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam says to one of the atheists who comes and says to him. And now, those of you who have been with me on all 10 of these nights, where I've been showing you, where is Allah? Allah is, فَإِنَمَا تُوَلُّ فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. He's everywhere, right? If you have tawakkul on Allah, then He's in every aspect of your life. Just like Imam Ali alayhi salam says, مَا رَأَيْتُ شَيْئًا إِلَّا وَرَاءَ اللَّهُ قَبْلَهُ وَبَعْدَهُ وَمَعَهُ. There isn't a single thing that I've ever done in my life, Imam Ali alayhi salam says, except that I saw Allah before it, after it, and during it. When you can have that type of a mindset, now when Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam is asked, show me where Allah is, what does Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam come back with? He says, show me where Allah isn't, and I'll show you where Allah is. This isn't to go and say, oh wow, mashallah, you found that one little corner where Allah isn't. Here, let me show you where else Allah is. Now, I'm going to now focus on that same exact corner, and I'm going to go and show you the same exact thing that you're looking at, and I'm just going to flip your whole entire world and show you the qudra of Allah. How Allah's ni'mah is still there. I'm going to go and reinvent your perspective on the same exact thing you brought to me. This is how you combat nihilism, brothers and sisters. Through the path of Ahl-ul-Bayt, salamullahi alayhim. And of course, when you see the beauty in everything like the Imams did, right? Then all you're going to be able to see, like Sayyidah Zainab when she's asked by the La'in Ibn Marjana, كيف رأيت ما صنع الله بأخيك? How did you find what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did with your brother? She says what? Go ahead, you guys say it. ما رأيت إلا جميلا. Right? I saw nothing but beauty. This is that mindset, brothers and sisters. And so, when you have that mindset, nothing can deter you. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throws anything your way, you say, I'm going to use this not as a wall, but as a stepping stone for me to get closer to Allah. And the harder that the test is, maybe the farther away I was from Allah, and I needed to be brought back with a real rude awakening. I really needed to be woken up from my ghafla. Right? When you realize that, then we come to the ayah of Surah Al-An'am, and this is the part of Nabi Ibrahim's speech from that same exact passage that whether it was in Jum'ah or any of these nights, I never picked up because I was saving it for these nights. So let's go to those ayat. بعد الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. Have another louder salawat. Ahsantum. So we start off with the ayah Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and this is ayah number 81 of Surah Al-An'am. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَكَيْفَ أَخَافُ مَا أَشْرَكْتُمْ وَلَا تَخَافُونَ أَنَّكُمْ أَشْرَكْتُمْ بِاللَّهِ مَا لَمْ يُنَزِّلْ بِهِ عَلَيْكُمْ سُلْطَانًا فَأَيُّ الْفَرِيقَيْنِ أَحَقُّ بِالْأَمْنِ إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. What Ibrahim alayhi salam is saying over here, why should I fear what you guys are worshipping when you guys don't fear Allah Himself? And then he goes and says something very interesting. فَأَيُّ الْفَرِيقَيْنِ, which of the two parties deserves al-aman? For those of you who speak Arabic, what does al-aman mean? Safety, right? Security. Safety, security where? In akhirah or in dunya? Dunya. So Ibrahim alayhi salam is unlocking something for us over here. If you want safety and security in this world, what do you need to go and let go of? Shirk. You need to have ikhlas in your tawheed. If you're going to be creating a city, you need two things. And for those of you who have moved from other places, you know this. You need an economy and you need safety. Without public safety, you don't feel safe staying in that city anymore. How many of you have moved from, la samahullah, God forbid if you came from California, you guys already are probably crying before my musiba starts. And those of you who came running from the economy of California, you guys can go home. You guys have already done your Hajj. Right? You need a safe economy and you need a safe neighborhood to go and stay in. Otherwise, what are we doing over here? Right? So Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he's building Mecca, he goes and says that, Ya Allah, make sure that this رَبَّنَا وَاجْعَلْ هَذَا الْبَلَدَ آمِنًا وَارْزُقْ أَهْلَهُ مَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? He says, yeah, I can give the economy just to those people who believe, but I'll also give to those people who, disbelieve. And then once they die, then I'll go and punish them. Let's take it easy a little bit, Ibrahim. You don't have to be so hardcore and just, go and deprive the kids of yours who are kuffar, right? But that's what Ibrahim wanted. So You come to ayah number 81 and he says, فَأَيُّ الْفَرِيقَيْنِ أَحَقُّ بِالْأَمْنِ. Who deserves aman more? إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَمْ يَلْبِسُوا إِيمَانَهُمْ بِظُلْمٍ. Yesterday we had a whole entire lecture with dealing with what? ظلم. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَمْ يَلْبِسُوا إِيمَانَهُمْ بِظُلْمٍ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. For those people, they deserve aman, they deserve security, and they are the ones who are truly guided. وَتِلْكَ حُجَّتُنَا آتَيْنَاهَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ عَلَى قَوْمِهِ نَرْفَعُ دَرَجَاتٍ. Yesterday, what was the other thing that we were talking about? ظُلُمَات and درجات. وتلك حجتنا آتيناها إبراهيم على قومه نرفع درجات من نشاء إن ربك حكيم عليم. Darajat aren't just in the next place. Darajat, look at how Ibrahim alayhi salam is given arguments that no other prophet is given. Right? You see any other prophet arguing like this? Oh, the planet must be my Lord. The star must be my Lord. These are the ayat preceding the ones that I just read. The sun must be my Lord. Oh, that didn't work? Alright, hey, you guys have fun at the festival. Yeah? Eid Mubarak, Eid Mubarak. Okay, yeah. He goes and starts destroying all of the idols, and he goes and says, hey, don't ask me. Go look at the big one. Right? Have you ever seen a prophet in history argue like this? No. وَتِلْكَ حُجَّتُنَا. This is our proofs that we gave to Ibrahim. آتَيْنَاهَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ عَلَى قَوْمِهِ نَرْفَعُ دَرَجَاتٍ مَنْ نَشَاءُ. We will go and raise whoever we want in darajat. Right? إِنَّ رَبَّكَ حَكِيمٌ عَلِيمٌ. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very wise and He knows what He is doing. So, having said all of that, if we're trying to go and not يَلْبِسُ إِيمَانُ, إِيمَانُنَا بِظُلْمٍ, then what do we want to go and, ilbis it with? Nur, which is the exact opposite of zulm. Oh, okay, how do we do that? رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله لا صلوا على محمد وآله محمد. If it seems like it's a little bit better now, but I just want to mention it right now. If we have small kids or whatever, right? Musa alayhi salam was one of the strongest lunged babies in the world, right? Which is convenient because Fir'aun's guards are looking for any babies born that year, right? And yet Musa alayhi salam, his mother has the tough job of quieting this baby. So I know the struggle of all mothers when they bring children to the majalis, right? However, for at least right now during the content part, not the masaib part, if it is possible, if you guys could step outside, if the baby is not able to be handled, we would really appreciate that. That way, I don't have to keep on pausing. Thank you so much. And sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad for all of the mothers. So brothers and sisters, let's get to the toughest topic that I was going to try to talk about a few nights ago. We didn't get time for it. Tonight is the night that we're going to talk about this. I'm not going to go through the entire theory of this in physics, but I'll give you just enough for what we need. You guys are free to go and look this up on your own on YouTube. There are much better explanations than what you're about to get right now. So forgive me if I don't completely, make you scholars of physics, inshallah. The topic that we're going to be looking at very quickly for just a few moments is called quantum entanglement. Okay? Basically what this means, what does it mean? Okay? Imagine you go to a restaurant, they give you, all these guys, these majboor people, right? All they have is one type of box. You go and order, inshallah, it's halal, a hamburger and a hot dog. Hamburger is usually a circle, right? Right? And then the hot dog is long. But these poor people, all they have is one box. So you get two boxes. You don't know which one is which, right? You don't know which one is the hot dog. You don't know which one is the hamburger. But when you go home, right, and you open it up, you open one up and you find either one of them is going to be in there, right? And it's going to, inshallah, if they got the order right, one of them is going to be, let's say, the hamburger. You know for sure that the other one is hot dog. Okay, you guys have understood quantum entanglement. Basically what this is, what they say is, if we go and, let's say you flip a coin, 2 coins, right? 2 astronauts, they go and launch their rockets, they're going to 2 sides of the universe, right? And they're told, hey, flip your coin 10 years from now, inshallah, right? 10 years from now, don't forget us, right? La tamtuna min ad-du'a, and just flip that coin, okay? They flip their coin in 10 years, And one of them knows, because of the way that these coins have been engineered, if one of them comes up heads, the other one is absolutely going to come out tails. Ahsantum, you guys are better scholars than me, right? In quantum physics. So, when they go and send their radio signals, right? These guys are going rocket ships, opposite ends of the universe. One of them knows what they have. They got heads, let's say, right? But they're sending their radio signal. It's going to take who knows how many years. But do they know with yaqeen what their coin forced the other coin to be flipped into? So do they know that that one is flipped as what? If this one's heads, that one is tails? Do they know for sure? Yes. Why? Because this is the theory of quantum entanglement. Einstein was the first one tried to go and start observing this. He couldn't really understand it. We started to understand this maybe in the 70s and 80s, right? And he called this spooky action at a distance. Ahsantum sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa. And so don't worry about these fancy titles, quantum entanglement, madri shino. Okay, just say spooky action at a distance. Okay? Spooky action at a distance. What does this have to do with Islam? Didn't we say a couple of nights ago when Musa alayhi salam's dua was answered, قَدْ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَتُكُمَا, right? Your dua has been answered. Habibi, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts you through the situation, He wants you to make dua. Because the dua's answer is coming. You over here just need to have the correct, you need to have husnul dhan with Allah. When you have husnul dhan with Allah and you make the dua that Ahl-ul-Bayt taught you, not whatever happens to come out of your, out of your pocket. No. Do what Quran has taught you, do what Ahl-ul-Bayt has taught you. As soon as you do, know with yaqeen that you have brought something down from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the dua is answered. When and where? I don't know about that. No one knows about that. Rasulullah, you could go and ask him. When is, Mata Nasrullah? It's qareeb. I don't know when it's qareeb, right? Your dua acts in the exact same way as these heads and tails coins. That if this one is definitely done, the dua is made, that's heads. Then what's tails over here? The dua is istijab. وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ أَدْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. In the other ayah, in Surah Al-Baqarah, what does he say? He says, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِ عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. Now, inshallah, if he's a mu'min, inshallah, if he's done some amal al-salihat, la. أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي وَلْيُؤْمِنُوا بِي لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْشُدُونَ. If you have faith in quantum physics, right, and Albert Einstein and whoever else, and the Nobel Prize is given to, thank you for helping us understand our world better, right? And if business people are starting to use this for, positivity and, let's just meditate a little bit, and they swear by it, then where did our iman go in dua? That's an open question. I don't know where it went, right? I don't know where it went. But if you have iman and you want the mechanics of the ghaib, then this is the mechanic. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to understand that it is a certainty. It will happen. But it'll be happening on His clock, not your clock. You don't get to come and say, Ya Allah, come on. Right? Amazon can do overnight. Right? Can't you do a little bit better than Amazon? Ya Rabbul Alameen. You don't talk to Allah like that. You say, Ya Allah, whatever pleases you, I am happy, and this is why Aslamtu li Rabbil Alameen is the creed of Millata Abikum Ibrahim. إذ قال ربه أسلم قال أسلمت لرب العالمين. Right? When you are able to go and do that, you're fine in this life. You'll get everything that you need. And so now, brothers and sisters, you understand why I started off with those ayat of the Quran from Surah Al-Isra that I recited at the very beginning of the majlis. You can give me a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Let's have another louder salawat. So we went and read over there in those ayat, من كان يريد العاجلة عجلنا له فيها ما نشاء لمن نريد ثم جعلنا له جهنم يصلاها مذموما مدحورا. Whoever wants quickness, you want faster than Amazon Prime, you can't be patient with Allah, all you want is this dunya, you can't be a little bit more open-minded, you just want to see whatever's in front of you and you just want this. من كان يريد العاجلة عجلنا له. We'll go and make it quick for him. We'll give him everything he wants. Fir'aun got everything he wanted in dunya? Sure. Nimrud got everything he wanted? Sure. In the kinetic war of Karbala, who would the history book say is the winner of Karbala? Yazid or Hussein? Yazid. The kinetic war. We look at Hussein as the winner because we have taken off these Sami'an Basira glasses and we know that there's the ghaib. And we know that he is Sayyid al-Shuhada. And we know that today we don't even know where Yazid's grave is. If he's even dead. That's a different matter. If he's even dead. But we know where Hussein is. We know that there are people right now who he's asked to go and keep us in their du'as who are at the shrine right now, who are sending us videos on WhatsApp, right? We know where Hussein is. And we know that pretty soon, as Yawm al-Asr comes, the angels are going to bring his throne on top of his Narir. And he's going to be looking at all of his du'ar, and he's going to be praying for you and I, just like how we are praying for him and for his family. That's coming up in the next few hours, brothers and sisters. Prepare your du'as. Because Imam Hussein's safina is the quickest of all of the safinas. Imam Salih said. Then we see what? ثُمَّ جَعَلْنَا لَهُ جَهَنَّمَ يَصْلَاهَا مَذْمُومًا مَدْحُورًا. Then, if all he cares about is dunya, okay fine, then we will go and bring him to where? Jannah or Jahannam? Jahannam. Why? What's wrong with me wanting dunya? No, you didn't ask for it correctly. Surah Al-Baqarah comes and gives us the correct dua. He says if you come and say رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا, that's all you say, then no, you're not going to be getting much. And then the correct way to understand the dua that we read in Qunut, رَبَّنَا, go ahead, recite it with me. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا حَسَنًا وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنًا وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. This wow over here of وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنًا, the people of Nahu, they don't go and just say, give me khair in dunya, right? رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا, or not khair, hasan in dunya and hasan in akhirah. They say no, this is istithami. This is to go and further elucidate which kind of hasana you want in dunya. Meaning, give me only the hasana in dunya that will be good for me also in akhirah. Otherwise, I don't want it. All of us over here are praying, I want the Ferrari, I want this and that. We've completely forgotten about the akhirati hasana. And we don't even know that what we're praying for is only give it to me if it's good for me in my akhirah. If this is a marketing tool for you to go and show, look at how Allah, right? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes and says, He says, وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. It's okay if you have the car keys of a Porsche or a Lamborghini or whatever, but they're in your pocket. As long as they're not in your heart. As soon as it takes over your heart, you go and set that thing on fire. Okay? Because this is destructive for your akhirah. And then, if you needed just a little bit more convincing that this is what رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً means وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. So then what does the next ayah say? وَمَنْ أَرَادَ الْآخِرَةَ وَسَعَى لَهَا سَعْيَهَا وَهُوَ مُؤْمِنٌ فَأُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ سَعْيُهُمْ مَشْكُورًا كُلًّا نُمِدُّ هَؤُلَاءِ وَهَؤُلَاءِ مِنْ عَطَاءِ رَبِّكَ وَمَا كَانَ عَطَاءُ رَبِّكَ مَحْظُورًا. Each and every single one of them, we will give what they want. You want akhirah? We'll give you akhirah. You want dunya? We'll give you dunya. And so, brothers and sisters, let's not take this concept of quantum entanglement and dua and actually getting what we want, whether we want dunya or whether we want akhirah, lightly. Because, brothers and sisters, many of you have probably heard of the story of Ra'id, right? Who is a Ra'id? Ra'id is a Christian man, old man, comes to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, and he says, you are it seems a truthful messenger. He says, I have married so many women, and some of them have died, some of them I've divorced. Others are malakat aymani, right? None of them has been able to give me kids. Can you please make dua for me? And Rasulullah knows what he's doing. He's about to go and teach us the maqam of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam. But look at what he says. He says, I'm sorry, but it doesn't look like it's in your nasib. A young Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam is watching from a distance, and he comes and says, Ya Jaddah, assalamu alayka ya Jaddah. But why did you say no to him? He says, Ya Hussein, because it's not in his nasib. He says, and when it's not in his nasib, aren't they supposed to come to us, Ahl-ul-Bayt, so that we can help them change their nasib? He says, come back over here, old man. He comes to him, Imam Hussein sits down, he says, you can go now. I've prayed, Allah will give you one son. The man is flabbergasted. He doesn't get up. He says, you can go now. I've asked for 2 sons for you. He doesn't get up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sons. Someone goes and shouts from the background. He says, you need to leave Imam al-Hussein, because his heart is so gentle and so soft that when he sees someone who needs a haja, he doesn't stop giving until you turn away from him. Tonight, brothers and sisters, is that night where Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam himself asked for one more night, to go and ask for dua, to go and do ibadah. This is that night. And you and I, if we could please turn off the photography from the Muhammad wa This is that Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam that is more than capable of taking all of our hajjat, no matter how impossible they are. Impossible is not a word that you use around Imam al-Hussein. This is not a word that you bring up in the 10 nights of Muḥarram, especially not on a light night like tonight. So as you're crying tonight, as I bring up the masa'ib of the 6-month-old, as we go through this heavy, heavy masa'ib, then don't forget your hajjat, and don't forget all of us in your hajjat. Because, brothers and sisters, Allah gives the toughest battles to the fiercest of soldiers. And I come over here as a new father. And it seems that sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to slow down the busiest mothers. Tonight is for those mothers who have newborns, who remember when they had newborns. He sometimes gives the clingiest babies. As soon as you put them down to sleep, they start crying. They need to be on the chest of either mother or father. He gives the clingiest babies to those mothers who are the busiest, who need to slow down in life. Now come to that soldier of a mother, Rabab, who from Rajab is raising a child that she doesn't even know is going to be slaughtered on the plains of Karbala. And so she just needs to be that convinced. On the night of Ashura, all of the mothers come to each of their kids and they're preparing them for Shahada. That my son, Waladi, when Abu Abdullah alayhi salam needs you, you go and sacrifice yourself and you don't think twice. This is what I've been raising you for this whole entire time. When you have Ramla going and saying that to Qasim, that your father has asked me to go and send you, Imam al-Hassan asked me to send you. When Layla is saying that to Akbar and saying, don't let any of Banu Hashim look and see that there's some kind of, there's no istiqamah within us. You show the way. When Zainab is saying to Awn and Muhammad, make sure that you go and make me proud. When the sons of Muslims are on the plains of Karbala, but there's just one mother who's rocking a cradle back and forth, and she's saying, Asghar, I'm not from Banu Hashim. I'm not from this family. I was hoping that I would have some more kids for Abu Abdullah to sacrifice, but all I have is you and Ruqayya. She looks at Asghar and she says, if Imam al-Hussein, if Baba gives you the ijazah to go into the battlefield, son, I just have one request for you. Don't let the arrow hit Baba. Be a shield for your father. She says, don't let anybody on the Day of Judgment come and say that there was something wrong with the milk of Rabab. How many mothers worry about their milk when they're with their newborn? This is the worry of that mother, Rabab. Don't let anybody come and say that Rabab's milk, just because she wasn't from Banu Hashim, that this is why she didn't have anyone to give for Abu Abdullah. After all of the companions, brothers and sisters, had given their lives in sacrifice for Abu Abdullah, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam comes and he says, هل من ناصر ينصرنا هل من معين يعيننا. At this moment, Ali al-Akbar comes and says to Imam al-Sajjad that, brother, you don't understand how alone my father is, our father is. All three of the Alis, for those of us who are from the Desi community, the third one is named Ali too. For those of us from the Arab, Abdullah, Rabi', all of the sons, they had a reaction at this Hal min Nasirin Yansuruna. But the third one, the one who's in the cradle, his was the most fierce reaction, and that was when Imam al-Hussein said this one line. He didn't say it any other time in Karbala. He says, هَلْ مِنْ ذَابٍ يَذُبُّ عَنْ حَرَمِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. Is there anyone who can come to defend the hurma of Rasulullah? Meaning what? That the granddaughters and the daughters of Rasulullah's hijab is going to be violated. There will be the shaqi who comes into the tent. Is there anyone who can come and defend the privacy of the daughters of Rasulullah? They say, brothers and sisters, that at this point, the third son of Imam al-Hussein, the Radi', the Tifl, he went and flapped his arms like a bird flaps its wings, and he ejected himself out of the cradle, as if to go and say, Labbaika ya Imami, Labbaika ya Mawla, Labbaika ya Hussein. Again, Labbaika ya Hussein. Until finally, when even Ali al-Akbar, al-Qasim, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, all of them have given their lives. Now Zainab al-Kubra comes to Imam al-Hussein and she says, Mahlan, Mahlan, Ya ibna al-Zahra. She goes and fulfills the amana of Sayyidah Zahra until finally Rabab comes and starts crying, and she comes with the baby. Zainab comes with the baby to Imam al-Hussein. She says the mother doesn't have any more milk. She needs water so that she can feed the baby. Allah. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam says, let me go and try to see if they will give him any water. And he comes and he lays out a swaddle for the baby. But the riwayah says that the way how he goes and swaddles him, those of you like me who were just in the hospital with a newborn, you know that there are different swaddling techniques. This doctor has this way, this nurse has this way. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, the way he swaddled this baby was the way how that at a janazah, a kafan is tied. This baby is being taken in the way of a kafan. Until Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, again I will remind those of you who have newborns, you don't want your newborn baby to be out in the sun. He puts his baby, Abdullah al-Rabi', the Tifl, the 6-month-old, underneath his abba, so that the harsh sun of Karbala does not burn his baby. From the other side, the narrators come and say that the army of Umar bin Sa'ad fought. Hussein is bringing us the Quran. He is so thirsty, he's going to ask through the tawassul of the Quran that please, by the right of the Quran, I am the Ahl of the Quran, give me some water. Look at the surprise of even their qawm when he comes and says, O Shia al-Abi Sufyan, Atashan Ummah, أريد الماء عطشان أريد الماء. His mother is thirsty. I just want a little bit of water for her so she can feed this baby. One of the narrations says that Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam said, if we are the criminals in your eyes, then what is the crime of this طفل? ما ذنب طفلي? It says, one of the other narrations comes and says that if you don't believe me, if you think I'm a liar, let me go and put the kid over here on the plains of Karbala. You take him, you give him some water and then give him back to me. Allahu Akbar, Abu Abdullah. You were so desperate that even the hot sands of Karbala, you put your baby on there. At this point, the army of Umar ibn Sa'ad split into two factions. One of them said we should feed, the other said none of them will get water until we finish off every last one of them. At this point, Umar ibn Sa'ad, la'natullah, comes and says, Ya Harmala, ihsan niza' al-qawm. End the debate of the people. What do you want me to do? Kill the baby. Harmala, when he's in that duel with Mukhtar, he says that I went and took out one of those arrows that had 3 heads. Usually I use this to slaughter one of those thick-necked camels. But Umar ibn Sa'ad wanted me to use this. He says, when I went and knocked the arrow on the bow the first time, it went loose. I did it the second time, it went loose. The third time, Umar ibn Sa'ad said, if anyone asks me who is the most hard-hearted person that I know, I wouldn't have hesitated to say that it was you, Harmala. He says, I would have killed him by now. Says, then what's the problem? He says, every time my arrow goes up, I see a woman who's shrouded in black. The air shimmers and I see a woman fully in black. And she says, Harmala, you have kids too. Why do you insist on killing my son's son? Have some mercy. Until finally, when this woman went away the third time, I waited for the wind. The wind took away the clothing of this baby. I saw the neck of this baby. It was shimmering on the plains of Karbala like silver. Brothers and sisters, I don't know how I'm going to narrate this and how you're going to hear this. He shoots the arrow. The narration says, ضبحا من الأذن إلى الأذن. He was watered from one ear to the other. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam raises his hands and says, Allahumma taqabbal minna hadha al-qurban. اللهم إن كان هذا يرضيك فخذ حتى ترضى. Cups his hand, he takes the blood. I'm going quickly now because we're out of time, brothers and sisters. He throws it to the air, and Rasulullah says there was a green vial with an angel ready to collect all of the blood. He brings it now back to the tent. Brothers and sisters, Imam Hussein was able to go and lift the body of Ali al-Akbar, al-Qasim. He was trying with Abu al-Fadl, but with this young body, as you'll see tomorrow in the Maqtal, he steps forward 7 times and he takes 7 steps backwards. Each and every single time he keeps on saying, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, Ridhan bi qada wa tasliman li amri. He starts with his sword, digging the grave for Ali al-Asghar, for the Tifl al-Rabi', until he stops. Rabab comes and says, what's wrong? He says, it's from the sunnah of my grandfather to go and have some water for the grave. She says, don't worry about Abdullah, I will cry night and day over this grave. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. والعاقبة للمتقين. Raise your hands, brothers and sisters, in the dua. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Everyone. أما يجيب اللهم إنا ندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم 10 times يا الله 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 إلهي بفاطمة وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها اكشف عنا السوء يا الله. اللهم اغفر ذنوبنا كفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار مع محمد وآله الأطهار ولأرواح الجالسين والحاضرين والشهداء والعلماء والباذلين والمؤسسين ولأرواح أهلهم. نقرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة مع الصلوات.